started with our QuickBooks certification program through Metrics Learning. I'm Kali, your QuickBooks mentor. And we will begin today with Chapter 7, Customers and Sales, Part 2. Chapter 8, Vendors and Expenses, Part 1. Chapter 9, Vendors and Expenses, Part 2, and our Q&A. Beginning Chapter 7, Customers and Sales, Part 2, we will cover the Method 2, Sales Receipts. As you recall, Method 1 was creating invoices. That was from last week. Method 3, Statement Charges. Method 4, Make Deposits. 5, Import from another program. And we'll also cover credit memos, customer statements, and reports. Okay, getting on with Method 2, Sales Receipts. We enter sales receipts when your customer pays in full at the time of sales. Let's go to QuickBooks, and we will enter a sales receipt. In the home page, we'll go to Customers and create a Sales Receipt tab. There it is, our window, enter Sales Receipt. Okay, populating the fields, customer job, ABC Sports. They gave us cash. We want to make sure that we have the item in there. Moving a little slow. A storm just blew through here about 10 minutes ago. Received some cash for masonry work. Quantity of 5. $10 per, and the amount of $50. And we can either save and close. We can print it later. And if we print later, we can find it in our print forms menu list under print sales receipts, or we can print now under the print button on the menu bar above the window. Moving a little slow. And we have a preview button. Take a look. Each one in there is our sales receipt for ABC. Okay. And then print. And we hit the print. And I'm going to cancel because I do not have my printer hooked up. Okay. Let's back out of this. And that is how we print a sales receipt, enter and print a sales receipt. And we'll move on to Method 3, Statement Charges. Statement charges charge customers for services on statement monthly billing. Statements often alleviate printing and mailing numerous individual invoices. Statement charges, I believe, are rarely used in the business world. Most businesses will not pay on a statement. They usually will just pay on an invoice. Although this is available on QuickBooks, and there are limitations. Sales tax and aging are not tracked. You cannot apply discounts. You can't use group items, and it can't be used for an estimate, from an estimate or a sales order. We'll just go through this quickly. Statement charge here. Open the window. It's in the Customer Center. Okay. And you enter here is our date, the item, masonry work, quantity of 5 for $5, which gives us a $25 statement charge. And we will record this to ABC Sports. They're asking about a class. I like to use classes, but we're going to just save it anyways without the class today. And that's how you enter a statement charge. Method 4, make deposits. And now when you make a deposit, it is used to record income when none of the previous methods are used. We can select income accounts for most cases, and the limitations of lump sum deposits are that you cannot use items and you cannot record a sales tax on that deposit. We'll go to the banking center and we will record a deposit. Now this we know our payments to be deposited. We are not going to record these deposits because these are based on invoices that have already been paid. So we're just going to not select anything, hit OK, and this is our make deposit window. And we are going into we have 2 bank accounts going into Operating First National, which I had named. Received, we'll say we received it from Dunkin' Donuts. From the account, an income account is job income. Memo is job 10. And payment method, check class is revenue. What do we have here? And amount of $50. We're going to save and close, and that's our deposit. And as you can see, there's no account for sales tax. That's not being tracked. And there is no aging because we are not paying from a bill. And we will save and new. Okay, I've got a message that it's hard to hear me. Is everybody good? Okay, that's making deposits. Method 5, to import from another program. To do this, you would go on a web browser, either the internal web browser at QuickBooks, or you can go on your own web browser and go to marketplaceintuit.com, search by industry or business need, and then choose the app which would download the information into QuickBooks. Some companies, like a printing company, will have their own application where they store their customer jobs, their print jobs. That application will have the income information. That information is then downloaded into QuickBooks in form of data, and they will have all the information that they will need, and the two talk to each other. Okay, so let's move on. Credit memos. You want a credit memo, you issue a customer credit for previously recorded sales. Used for sales methods 1, 2, and 3, which are invoicing, statement, and sales receipts. Do not use the sales methods 4 and 5, which are make deposits and from another program. Making deposits does not have an invoice connected to it, so you cannot apply a credit to that invoice. So let's enter a credit memo. Question while this is opening? My dot matrix printer is probably my computer. You can hear it running. Okay, here's our credit memo, and we're going to choose a job, and we'll do ABC Sports, business management, labor costs, custom item, masonry work, 5 at $45. We'll save $5. And they have a $25 credit memo, and we will save and close. We can print it later, or we can either use the credit and apply to an invoice. And we have a couple of invoices here with ABC, and we'll choose this. Oh, that one must be paid. Oh, it was paid. Excuse me. Let's try another one. Dunkin' Donuts. We use the credit, give a refund. Do you change? Okay, yes. We changed the customer job. They're asking if we wanted to do that. This is issuing the refund, and we can write a check, and it's asking us here. But I'm going to cancel this and go back to apply it to an invoice. There's no customer invoices. Question. Are you talking questions at the end or throughout? I'm taking questions at the end. We want to get through this pretty quickly. Okay, so we changed it to D-Designs and apply the credit. That's how you apply a credit to an invoice, by using this button. And you use this button to issue a refund through a check to be printed at another time. Okay, let's move on. If you have questions about this, please ask at the end of the we went through the credit memos and the issue of the refund check. We just did that through that button on the bar above the credit memo window. Okay, create a customer statement. The usage for a statement is to either bill the customers or remind the customers of past due balances. So let's open that through the home page. And your statements on your customer vendor. Okay, we have a statement here. Our statement date is 6/8, period from 5/9 to 6/8. We're going to do all customers or multiple customers. Let's choose that so we can choose a couple. We have ABC Sports, Denami, and Dunkin' Donuts. And let's see what they have. Preview. And ABC Sports has $6,000. And a credit with D-Designs. We issued a credit there earlier. And we have Dunkin' Donuts with a zero balance with a credit issued earlier. Okay. Reports. An open invoice report and a collections report that we can find in our customer and receivables reports. And we have reports on the top menu bar under customers and receivables. Open invoices. And these are our open invoices on ABC, D-Designs, Jack, and JD Enterprises. And our other report, just a refresher, our collections report, our reports, customers and receivable, and collections report. Showing ABC, Jack Deacon, and JD Enterprises. I would not send a collections letter to them. It was due on 5/28/61 and 6/1. They were just showing the open invoices. Okay. Next, Chapter 8, Vendors, Track Accounts Payable, Write Checks, Void versus Delete Checks, and Reports. And Chapter 8 is centered around the vendor center. The vendor companies are individuals you purchase goods or services from, and they're also 1099 recipients must be set up as a vendor in the vendor center. To ensure detailed and complete information by populating all tabs, the address info tab, the payment settings, the tax settings, the account settings, and the additional info. We would head into the Vendor Center on the top page of the home page. New vendor, top left, new vendor again. And you have the tabs populate all these fields: main, work phone, mobile, fax. And then you have the payment settings, the account numbers for your vendor. Those account numbers will automatically populate when you write a check or pay a bill. You have tax settings if they are 1099 eligible. Account settings, when you pull up this vendor in a pay bills window, it will automatically use these accounts if you choose to enter them in this window. And any additional info as a vendor type, you as a company and the QuickBooks user, you would set up the vendor type groups. Okay. Tracking accounts payable. The process of tracking accounts payable starts with entering the bill before paying the vendor. The steps that you use for accounts payable are 1, enter the bill, 2, pay the bill, and 3, print the check. Quite simple, 3 short steps. Now, if you do not use accounts payable and you don't want to track through accounts payable, you eliminate the enter bill step and just write the check and print the check. We will demonstrate writing a check. Let me get back to this, what I want to do too. I'm going to print a check and write a check. What we're going to do is the process of entering a bill. And with this, open the enter bill, and we're on the bills section of the enter bills. Populate the fields of the vendor. Daisy Dell. We owe $10. The memo is the account number. She's not set up in the accounts. So as you can see, if you have that set up in the enter the vendor, that information would show up on the memo, her account number, and the account for the bill. Daisy is, what does she do for us? We buy office supplies from her, paper envelopes. We owe her $10. It's not part of a customer job. We use the classes business management, save and close. Now we can save and close, or we can pay the bill by using the button on the top menu bar, or we can pay bills through the customer's vendor here. Let's do it here. And we need to record it before we pay it. Yes, we want to record it. And now we need to pay it. Now we're showing that Daisy Dell, we owe $10 for her. We can go to the bill through this window. We can go back to it to check it if we need to. And we want to pay it today. Make sure we have the right checking account, or the method, and then the correct checking account. And we'll use this checking account. And then we'll pay the selected bill. Now when we pay the selected bill, we can either print the check or pay more bills. Let's print the check. Let's select just Daisy's check that we want to print at this moment. And the first check number for this is number 1. And we'll say, okay. Check number is good. Only Daisy's. Hit OK. And print. What we're going to do here is, I prefer the standard version of checks because you get 3 checks per page, and QuickBooks holds all the information that may be on voucher checks, this bottom section here. And then we will print. Okay. Now you have a choice. Oh, we printed it there. Okay. Excuse me, we are going to go to writing a check, and that's where our choice is to either print or print later. So next what we're going to do is, those are the 3 steps of entering, paying, and printing a check. So those are the 3 steps of accounts payable. But if we're not going to track it in accounts payable, you can just write the check. So we're going to write a check to AT&T. And we will write it for, oh, look here. It says here that there are open bills, but we're not going to pay on this bill right now. So we're just going to continue writing the check, and we're going to give them $10. And it's a part of our telephone expense, our memo, no customer job, billable, class. I will say yes. We'll go into class detail later on. And then we do save and close. Or we can print later or print now. Check number 2, okay. Look at that, there we go. And we're going to print. And we have the standard. Okay. Let's move on. Okay, we showed the printed later button, and for handwritten checks, those are checks where we're not printing them, but we may have a small book that we won't use within our printer, handwrite it, but we need to still enter the information in QuickBooks. And for handwritten checks, just make sure that the print later box is not checked, because you're not going to print it. You're writing it out by hand. And also for any debits that you may, like a debit card that you use in your checking account, enter a debit on or EFT or debit on the check number field. Okay, let's move on. Void versus deleted checks. Deleted check if the check was never written. And to delete a check, and also we'll go back to if you void a check if you use the check number, but the check will never be cashed. And how we would execute that is we would go to write checks or find the check. We'll choose this check here, the one to Daisy Dell. If we want to void it, and we void it because the check was never going to be printed, it wasn't going to be sent out, and we can just void it out. So what we do is hit the edit button on the top menu bar, and you void the bill, and it just turns it to 0. Now, let's see if we can undo that. Let's undo that. We'll hit the revert button. And now what we want to do is we're going to delete the check. Now, deleting the check is if the check never existed. So what we'll do is delete the bill payment check. It says this payment has been used to pay some bills. Do you want to delete it? Yes, we want to delete it. We may have a duplicate, so we're going to delete it. And then we have the other one in place. Again, if you have questions, save them and we will get them at the Q&A. And reports. We have missing check reports and we have expense by vendor summary report. Missing check reports are valuable in keeping track of what is not, either has not been used or is out there, and you may have duplicates. Just keeping an eye on your checks. Where are we? Banking, missing check reports. And choose your account, hit OK. Oh, we have no missing checks. In our expense by vendor summary report, the path is reports, company and financial expenses by vendor summary. Company and financial reports. Wrong reports. I went to the reports center. Let's see. All right, let's move on. We know where the vendor summary report, you have the path here. Okay. Vendors and expenses we have in Chapter 9. We're going to cover, and this is a nice short chapter, so we're going to cover credit memos, reconcile the bank account, and reports associated with reconciling the bank account. So let's go QuickBooks is behaving. Yep, that's our report center. We go. Prefer not to go there. Okay. Credit memos. In your vendors with a credit memo, what we would do is we want to enter a credit memo. It's similar to entering a bill and is located in the Enter Bills window. And the credit memo is when they extend us a credit and we want to track those credits. So when we pay a bill, we have a $10 credit. We only have to pay $10 less than what we owe. So enter your credit memo here in the Enter Bills window. This says bill here, and that's where you select whether it's a bill or a credit. And let's enter Daisy Dell. And our credit memo is $5. Our expense is office supplies, and class is business management. Now we can, here's our open balance, here's our bill. We have a $5. We can save and close. Now, to apply the credit memo, we have quite a few steps. And we want to start with click the Pay Bills icon on the home page and select the appropriate bills for payment. So we're going to go to the Pay Bills, and that was from Daisy, that credit. So here's Daisy's bill that we owe. We owe $10. So let's select Daisy. And then we want to set the credits. We have a $5 credit here, so we would like to set that credit. So let's set that credit. And we have the credit here, so we're going to choose the credit to set. I'm going to hit done. So then this changed from $10 to $5. Now we owe $5 to Daisy and pay the selected bill. And we can print the check. Again, just Daisy Dells. Make sure O'Brien and AT&T are not. And hit OK. Select standard as it was before and print. And moving on, reconciling our bank accounts. There's a few steps to that. Some of you may be familiar with how to reconcile an account. It's basically as you would your own account at home by comparing the information in your bank statement to what you have in your system. So we're going to begin through the banking center. There we go. We're going to begin at the banking center and hit the Reconcile button. And we will choose, make sure I have the right one here. Let's choose this one. Let's see if I have that right. Okay, no service charge. This is our ending balance at $74,000. You know what? I don't want to use this one. I want this account. Okay. So this is the checking account that we're reconciling. Beginning of balance at $10,000, ending balance $74,025. No service charge, no interest earned. Oh, too bad. And we'll continue. Open that, and then we have a list of our checks and payments and our deposits and other credits, and select each item that is on your statement. And here we have a difference of $2,500, and I'm going to leave that, and we're going to venture into the discrepancy window and see if that will help us. There's finding a discrepancy window may help us because it could find just one entry. So let's take a look at that, and we'll reconcile that now with a $2,500 difference. There's a $2,500 discrepancy between your statement and your transaction you selected. Now it says return, leave, reconcile, and then here it says actions that you can take to correct this discrepancy. Finish reconciling later. Force QuickBooks to match your statement. Let's leave it. Oh, and we'll go back to reconcile again. And what we're going to do this time, the discrepancy window did not come up. So what we're going to do is we're going to select all the entries that would be on the statement with a difference of 0. So we're going to reconcile this now. And it's a good reconciliation. There's a difference. QuickBooks connect with the current action due to missing component. I honestly don't know what that is. Okay, that was unusual. I think it may have been in regards to downloading information from your banks, which you can do, and I haven't done that on this window. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to open up the detail report. This is a reconciliation report. We're going to display the report. And this report displays current data, shows all transactions that were reconciled on a given date. It also shows transactions that were uncleared at the time of reconciliation and new transactions. So you have all the transactions that are in your checking account. So you have your clear transactions, your balance. This is your balance here. And then you have your new transactions, which are past the 5/31 date, which is our statement date. Print and staple it to your bank statement. Okay. You can run a discrepancy report as well as previous reconciliation report. And what we're going to do there is review reconciliation. We just reviewed the reconciliation detail report, which assists you in locating your discrepancies. You can look through that report and see what was selected, what was chosen in your reconciliation, and what was not, and what may be missing that is not in your checking account. So you can see those discrepancies within that report. Let me go here to find that. Locate report. We don't have a discrepancy because of the last one was good, and that can help you with your and vendors and payables. So our vendor balance detail report. And it shows what our balance is for AT&T. We owe Curtis Lumber, Daisy, Joan, and Lucy Beard. Oh, Lucy gave us a credit. There's a negative number there. Okay. And the last report, accounts payable aging summary. This tracks our history and timing of our accounts payable and our AP aging summary report. And it looks like we're all current except for Joan, which is $50,000, and it looks like we need to pay that soon, and that's a big one. Okay. That's it. We're good. I hope that was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. Just type them in there, and we'll get going on that. Yes, we have a question if you will receive the PowerPoint again in the email. Yes, you will. Can I please review the bank reconciliation, which we did? What is it that you need to review in the reconciliation? And that's for Susan. You can enter a credit memo for any vendor that you have in place, or if you need to enter the vendor. It does not have to be, you do not have to have an open bill, but you can really only apply it to a bill, or you can contact a vendor and ask them to send you a check if they owe you money, if they've given you a credit. To create a statement charge, you wrote notice limitation. Should we see this on the screen or just keep it in mind? Keep it in mind. The limitations, of course, with the statement charges, as we said before, that not using them with invoices and that type of thing. Keep those in mind, and they are asked on the exam. I understand, not very clear on reconciling the discrepancy. The reconciling the discrepancy window can be helpful, and other times not so much, because if you have discrepancies, perhaps it's 3 or 4 items, or you have a say a bill that you paid 2 cents short, and it showed up on your bank account with that 2-cent difference. So the discrepancy, you can use that on only certain circumstances. And as you can see, we saw it in the reconciliation window, and you can use it there. Let's see. And then we gotta. For the certification test, do the multiple choice questions list the paths the way you do? Okay. For the most part, they may not be asking for the center. I included the center to help keep you focused and get the feel of what activities are in what centers. That's really it, because I had noticed in the manual that they have homepage and then write checks, but the write checks are in the banking center. So it's very close, if not right on. Okay, another question. Is it possible to reprint a reconciliation after it has been reconciled? In QuickBooks Pro, you can print a reconciliation detailed report from the last reconciliation only. that's what they offer, and it's sometimes I have found in the past very helpful, very helpful. What if a bank statement is showing a different amount than what the check was written for, and you have checked original bill? That I've run into that myself, and there's a number of things that you can do. Now, if it's like for 2 cents, I would just, if you haven't closed the month, I would just make the adjustment in your check and in your bill. If your creditor, your vendor, doesn't have a problem with this, you know, which way it is, it's either too much or too little, you can make the adjustment in QuickBooks. Now, if it's a very large adjustment, then of course the bank would have to be contacted, and you would work out how to make those adjustments. Sometimes they will issue a credit or a debit, and you can enter that as a general journal entry after the fact, and if your month has been closed. Took 2 payments, deposited both the bank account A, but one should be to A and the other to B. What do you do to correct this? Well, you can either delete the entry and redo it, or make a general journal entry to correct the error. How do you clear a vendor's credit if they send you a check for the credit? That's interesting. Let's take a look. You could probably delete the credit, is my guess. A vendor's credit. Let's see. Let's go to a home page. I would have to research that. Let me get back to you with that. Oh, I lost my. Let's see. How do you? Okay, Philip. Can I get back to you with that? I'm pretty sure you can just delete the credit if they sent you a check, but if they did send you a check, then you can apply the credit. Let me write that down, and I'll get back to you on that. And that is delete credit. Okay, next question. Created a statement charge, received payment, example, painting, leftover can of paint to touch up doors. Now I want to give credit for this paint was dried up. The credit memo is requiring an item even though item was not used in the statement charge. How do I give credit for this? You can give credit. The credit memo is requiring an item even though item was not used in the statement charge. Oh, can you use, I don't think you can use credit memos with statement charges. Take a look at that. I'm pretty sure you can't use them. You can do it with an invoice, and then the invoice will ask you for an item. And that's why you can't use credit memos with statement charges. Okay, Philip, thank you. Thank you for allowing me the time to get back to you. Any more questions? Okay, it looks like we don't have any more questions. I hope this was helpful. I hope it cleared up, you know, any issues that you may have had through the week. Any questions or concerns? Now, if you do have any further concerns, then please contact me at metricsmentor@gmail.com, and I can answer any of the questions regarding QuickBooks. We will forward the suggestions for your self-guided practice on Friday. We'll send those out tomorrow for the appendix for day 1, which are quite a few miscellaneous topics that they cover. And we'll go into chapter 1 and 2 for this week in day 2. It's been a pleasure working with you and answering your questions. I'm just honored to be a part of this and see you guys succeeding. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Linda, for saying that this was much better than last week. I appreciate that. I believe so too. It was a relief and a blessing to do this. Okay, everybody have a great week, and we'll get those questions out on Tuesday, and we'll talk to you on Friday for the live chat for Q&A. All right, have a great